Folks, I'm Bill Hunka with Absolute Software, and people know about us quite a bit. The standard reference point is LoJack for laptops. You might have seen that in Best Buy on the shelves, or when you're configuring your new Dell or HP or Lenovo laptop in the Apple Store, etc. So all over the place. And we've been around for 15 years. I've been with the company for 9 years, and it's been a really interesting curve. Since the start of my time with Absolute, the compliance landscape has really changed dramatically for you, for your mobile workers, but also just in general for data protection and what's happening as far as breach notification laws go, and security and compliance as an overall a best practice and an architecture approach. One of these lost or missing laptops, if encrypted and the password was potentially breached, or if not encrypted, can cause one of these notifications. One of the best resources, if you are in the IT security world and you're working on budget justifications for some of the security requirements, is privacyrights.org, and that website was created in 2005 when ChoicePoint had a social engineering issue, and that caused a notification to several 100,000 folks. And in the notification process, they created this website that now tracks literally every breach that occurs. State laws in the U.S. it's actually behind the times from Europe, and that's why a lot of the encryption vendors you're probably working with already today were formerly from the U.K. or from Germany, etc. One laptop for the Veterans Administration, or actually two, that ended up being stolen by potentially an insider contractor or lost by one of those, caused a $20 million notification. So the concepts around single instances that cause massive impact are quite frequent. And so literally it is happening every day, and the state legislation now, it's on the books in 48 states. California came out with one of the most stringent, New York State, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is now the boilerplate essentially for compliance. And is anybody in the healthcare industry in the room? So you've had lots of fun within the HIPAA world, and it's kind of HIPAA 2.0. I was at a conference a couple weeks ago, and CISO of Kaiser Permanente was referring to it as HIPAA 2.0. The convergence of all these different concepts: cloud computing, your mobile workers, extending healthcare to individual users at home facilities. All of these things are being driven by accessibility and by technologies like Qualcomm's Gobi module that allows for ubiquitous 3G. Some of your users might be walking into a Verizon shop and getting a specific netbook, and those netbooks are coming pre-embedded with Qualcomm's Gobi capability. So as far as how Absolute fits in, we refer to it as a layered approach and a framework. Security is a journey, as they say, and security is always evolving. So encryption is not the end state, but simply a very important first step to take into account. So what CompuTrace, what we have and what we've had since 2005, for the majority of PC OEMs, we have shipped in the BIOS. So we have this persistent capability. Our CompuTrace agent allows for our Windows-based application to be persistent. You have to authorize this to be deployed within your environment. It's a very small installer. It's a 150 kilobyte MSI installer that can be deployed through Active Directory, group policy, or your software distribution tool, deployed to your existing systems or deployed as part of your gold image for net new systems as you're refreshing them into the environment. The CompuTrace agent turns on that BIOS persistence mechanism that allows us to survive an operating system reload, hard drive swaps, tampering by the end user. So it provides a degree of additional security for your IT security administrators. With that, we also have the ability to remotely delete data, and we've been doing this since the days of dial-up. What we're really excited about with Qualcomm and the Gobi capability is now the remote data deletion, the theft recovery mechanisms that we employ. Of our 300 employees, 50 of our staff are former law enforcement officers, so RCMP Mounties up in Canada, the Dudley Do-Rights, FBI, New York City Police, LAPD, insurance investigators in Chicago. These folks handle cases, real-time forensics, to enable our customers to track, recover, and understand what actually happened in a post-loss or post-theft environment. I'll talk about one quick story, a personal story. On Friday afternoon, I was at Newark Airport heading home from a week-long meeting over there, and I was on my way to my gate before the flight, and got to my gate, literally had left the lounge, and within about 3 minutes I noticed my BlackBerry wasn't in my pocket. So as I had been moving, shuffling around, Rich, who's my manager, as well as my IT security guys, received the notification within that 3-minute time frame when I frantically searched my bag, my laptop bag, my suit, understood that that system wasn't around, went to lost and found very quickly. The BlackBerry Enterprise server has the capability for remote kill disable. All of these capabilities, and so thankfully the system was protected, password protected, and as well we received the log file 11:30 that night that was the first time the system was powered back on and it received the kill switch. You want to get to that point with your notebook platforms, and Gobi enables a very strong piece of that framework. So that's me personally. And just one quick story about encryption, and where you might think, oh, encryption is definitely the end state. That's where we need to reside, and we'll be very, very happy and content. I was on a flight from Vancouver to Los Angeles. It's been about 1.5 years now, and the gentleman had a Lenovo ThinkPad and full disk encryption from one of the leading vendors, pre-boot authentication as his prompt, and he had his pre-boot authentication password taped to a sticky note under his left palm area. So whatever mechanisms you put in place and policies, so as Fred was discussing, the policies, the paper policies, especially as you're providing tools to field workers that might not, maybe they've been working on paper and pen scenarios in healthcare or remote field workers for 25 years. And you're causing, this is a paradigm shift for them. Mobility is great, but mobility comes with a lot of training requirements and quite a bit of security requirements to actually implement it effectively. So using such tools such as Trelia to manage those policies, actually free Wi-Fi, if you go to the IT security, if you listen to John Pescatori or John Gerard, don't go and use free Wi-Fi because that's a potential for phishing attacks, right? So having port control or the ability to restrict access to Wi-Fi. I've talked to customers where they're so concerned about USB sticks, what can be controlled in software, that they actually glue shut the USB port with crazy glue. So I mean, it all depends. And we were just talking to a gentleman earlier today that they have a classified zone, and they actually, on some of their notebooks, they open it up before the systems are allowed to enter that zone. They remove the wireless componentry from the laptop, box it back up, and provide it back to the end user to enter that zone. Some of that can be controlled through the likes of the Trelia solution. So that's where really, as you're architecting your wireless and your mobility strategy, to really take that into context.